This the War Report coming live every Tuesday at 7 with Steve Cap, Brian, Amanda, and Eric. And the voice of NEW, Vince Berry. Hitting all the topics like a clothesline flurry. Turn up your speakers and hear them out. You can listen from your car, even on your couch. They too raw, who NXT? Handing out SmackDowns, follow on IG. Plus, it's sponsored by Tag Me a Date. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here. No safe space. Now listen in. Time to hear from some of the greats. You know it's all about the
Oh, wow. I still can't believe this shit, dude. I can't believe it. It's still Adam Cole, baby.
The part that's amazing to me is that they let it happen.
Yeah, they really fucked it up. Wow. Well, welcome to War Report, everybody. Yeah, I'm still, I can't not listen to Cult of Personality or Ruby Soho and just smile even 3 weeks later. Damn, this is an exciting time to be a wrestling fan.
Ain't that the truth?
I'm looking forward to Wednesday like you would look forward to WrestleMania. It's a Dynamite. It's not a pay-per-view. It's Dynamite, and they're making it feel like a pay-per-view. So this is a very cool time to be an AEW fan. There's a few new things, which I guess we'll touch on as we go on, but welcome everybody to the War Report podcast. I've got Steve here with me, and doesn't look like any of our co-hosts are logging in tonight except for us, but that's okay. We can, we can do the old two-man show. And Steve, I'll let you decide if you want to start with WWE SmackDown or Raw, or if you want to talk about, oh boy, I just saw the name. Oh God. Oh boy, it's one of those.
So check this out.
Let's let Steve handle this one.
Well, I need a little help. So here's the deal. I thought I had Dark Side of the Ring already set up on the DVR to automatically record, and apparently it did not. So I didn't even know that this aired until I started seeing shit exploding on Facebook and within our chat. I'm still a little confused because I have not had a chance to watch it yet. So for those who don't know exactly why people are shitting on Ric Flair and Tommy Dreamer, Vince, take it away. Tell us what really went on. I mean, I have an idea, but go ahead.
So I feel like this is a new generation of wrestling fans discovering this story, in considering it in a different kind of light, because it's it's now modern day. It's 2021. This is like almost 20 years after this plane ride happened. So they're looking at it with a modern lens. Not saying what anything that happened on the plane was right, but what I'm saying is nowadays, what it was bad then. Now, because things have gotten so kind of weird and conservative about people's behaviors, it's even worse. Like, it would be, if this happened today, people would be sued into oblivion and would be losing their jobs and all this kind of shit. So anyway, I'll back the bus up. The whole Dark Side of the Ring episode was about the plane ride from hell. It was a plane ride back from Europe after a European tour, after a 7-hour delay where the wrestlers drank 2 bar cartfuls of alcohol before the plane even took off, so that while they were waiting on the ground for 7 hours, and then continued to drink and do other things on the flight. There's the infamous wrestling match between Brock Lesnar and Kurt Henig, which has always kind of been described as a playful wrestling match that, they kind of bumped into stuff. Little did we know they broke internal bits of the plane, like with the storage compartment and chairs and stuff. They also slammed into the emergency exit, which realistically, there's a very slim chance of that door opening because of the pressure in the outside and the atmosphere and everything. But on the off chance they did give it enough force, they could have depressurized that entire cabin and really fucked everybody over. So that was a focus. Another focus was Terry Runnels and Dustin Runnels, aka Dustin Rhodes, aka Gold Dust. They had just divorced. As we know, Dustin was going through some personal problems at the time, and had a few too many drinks in him, let's say, and got the. Do you remember? You remember the movie with Adam Sandler, The Wedding Singer, where at the end he's singing on the phone through the cabin like a love song? Well, Dustin Rhodes did that exact thing, singing a song to Terry, which was like super awkward for her because they just got divorced and he was still feeling some kind of way about it, but she was like over it. So that was weird. I guess Brock Lesnar exposed himself to Terry Runnels. The all of this building to Michael Hayes' ponytail got cut off by X-Pac and then later put in a Ziploc bag and hung in the locker room or by gorilla position for everybody to see. But all of this crescendo to Ric Flair essentially being Ric Flair. This is not a new story. This is not even a one-off story. Ric Flair was wearing his Ric Flair robe and was naked underneath. That is what he's done. Unfortunately, regardless of whether it's right or not, this is not a new thing. Ric Flair has done this a myriad of times, but it happened to be that.
So what? He exposed himself?
This time, he exposed himself to the flight attendant. The flight attendant alleges that he stood in front of her in a way that blocked her exit from the kitchen area so that she couldn't get away while he was doing what RVD called the helicopter, which every guy has done this, looking in the mirror. So again, this is like, listen, the woman's horrified by this. And then she alleges that he tried to get her hand to touch his junk. And I don't know if she did or didn't. It's just so. Here's the thing: they tell this whole story and they go on for like an hour. At the end of it, the woman says, "I don't think Ric Flair was trying to rape me, but what I think he did was inappropriate and he should have been punished for it." JR says in the story that he fired a number of people involved, like Curt Hennig, who died months later. He kind of spiraled from that point and started doing more drugs and looked worse and worse until he passed away. All from the firing. I mean, he already had the substance abuse issues, but the firing made it worse. Anyway, he couldn't. JR said basically he couldn't fire Ric Flair because he was a made man. He's Ric Flair. He's Hall of Famer, world champion. Fucking Vince McMahon loves him. So he couldn't really, there was no real corporate punishment for Ric Flair. However, the woman did have the option to press charges. She opted or to take it to court and kind of, fulfill that process. Instead, she opted to take an undisclosed cash settlement and drop the case. So no charges were ever filed against Ric Flair. No judgments were ever made against him financially or criminally or otherwise that he needed to pay restitution. But he did, in fact, settle out of court for an undisclosed sum of money. And that's kind of where it laid for 20 years until this story came back up. And now she's saying that she wishes that more had been done, more punishment had been done to Ric Flair. Tara, this is about Dark Side of the Ring. You should just watch it. It's free on YouTube right now. Vice is the name of the channel. Vice is a television channel, so you should have it on demand. Vice also has a YouTube channel that you can check out. Dark Side of the Ring, Plane Ride from Hell is the title of the episode. It's currently sitting at just under 1 million views the last I saw it. And then I'll get to the Tommy Dreamer thing. So all of this situation happened. Ric Flair did what he did. The woman settled out of court instead of pressing charges. And then Tommy Dreamer at the end of this episode, to wrap things up, said, "I'm sure she was offended." He said, "Well, some people are offended by my stupid haircut. I'm 50-something years old and I have 2 ponytails and sticking out of the back of my head." Kind of trying to make a joke, but also saying, like, continuing on to say that if the woman, the flight attendant, wished that more was done to Ric Flair, then she should have, instead of settling out of court, tried the case in court to see what the resolution would be. But instead, she chose to take the cash settlement, and therefore, whatever calls she makes for further punishment are kind of a moot point, because she decided herself, "I'm taking the settlement. I'm not going to pursue this." So if that's the case, like, yeah, you can have the opinion maybe something more should have been done to him, But what Tommy Dreamer was saying, you've already made your decision. You're not pursuing it. So how can you say that more needed to be done when you yourself didn't do everything you could do to finish that out? So Ric Flair's canceled and Tommy Dreamer's canceled. Ric Flair's been pulled from the New York City Comic Con. There was a booth, Scout Comics. I don't know if they were doing a wrestling comic or what, but he's been pulled from their booth. The auto, whatever, Car Shield ads have been pulled from television starring Ric Flair. Tommy Dreamer has been suspended from both his Sirius XM radio show Busted Open and Impact Wrestling Television for the foreseeable future, with neither company giving a firm return date, saying it is an indefinite situation with Tommy Dreamer. So that's where we're at.
Wow.
Yeah, man, you miss one episode of TV and the whole world goes to shit.
To think that, this is gonna, I mean, this, I don't know, man. Part of me's like, this is.
She's there helping the show. Yeah, so
this was 20 years ago. Like, it's not an excuse, but like.
Right. This is like, digging up a dead body and hanging it again. Like, what are we doing? I listen, Ric Flair did something inappropriate. It doesn't matter what year or what decade he did it. It was inappropriate. However, Tommy Dreamer's opinion wasn't off base.
No.
The woman did have an opportunity to pursue this. And I understand her decision. She did say it on the episode, was that for her family's privacy, she didn't want the details of all that made public. And like, how defense attorneys will try and bring you on the stand or paint you in a bad light, or, look into your career as a flight attendant to try and find the one time you were late for work to try and make you look like you're an asshole and like you're making this whole thing up. So her husband and her decided it was best for the family that they didn't pursue it and to take the cash settlement. Understood. But you can't say, I took a cash settlement instead of going to court, and now I want this guy to retroactively pay for everything he's done. Like, I don't know. You can't have it both ways, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one, man. I mean, it's Ric
Flair did do something inappropriate, but
should it ruin his career now? Like at the end of his career, like you know what I mean?
And the other, again, I'm not saying this is right, but I'm saying there is an explanation to this where it was a different time. It was on a private charter flight that caters to celebrities and professional athletes. And usually on those private flights, I mean, like Guns N' Roses, when they would like charter a plane or rent out a hotel and they just fucking trash it. Like, do you think the WWE superstars are the only, like, you don't think like the Chicago Bears got on a flight one day and fucking trashed a flight while this lady was working as a flight attendant? There was a certain level of discretion that the company wanted them to keep about their clients because they knew that athletes, let's face it, if you're an athlete or a celebrity that's taking a private charter flight, you're a millionaire and or a celebrity. And you kind of get a pass on some weird shit that you do. So whatever weird shit was going on flights, the company was kind of telling these people, hey, keep it under wraps. Don't really talk about this shit when you go home. I'm not saying it's right, but what I'm saying is in our modern society, on the broad generality of it, celebrities get a pass for a lot of stuff. DUIs, shoplifting, flashing your dick at people. There are things that celebrities have gotten away with. And I'm not saying that it's right. I'm saying that societally, celebrities reach a certain status where they're kind of untouchable. And Ric Flair, being the, who he is in wrestling, has transcended pro wrestling into pop culture. I'm not saying he's untouchable, but what I'm saying is there were a lot of times where people gave him a pass for the things that he was doing solely because he was Ric Flair.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, it's fucked
Well-
up. I mean, the whole situation, I think, is. Well, you can't put that one on the screen, Tara or Cat. That was Cat.
Yeah,
Sorry, I thought it was Tara. Sorry, it's Cat with the dirty mind, of course. No, we cannot put that on the screen. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about this because yes, definitely what Rick did was wrong, and should he have been fined, suspended, or otherwise from WWE at the time? Yeah, absolutely, something should have happened. But how I
But
can't.
to bring this shit up now,
The amount of I have sympathy and empathy for this woman to go through something troubling, and obviously it still bothers her to this day if she's talking about it on television. Something that traumatized her. Some old guy flashing his wrinkly balls at you, like that's not cool. Like I get it. It's you can't
or the people from Dark Side of the Ring are fucking paying her money.
right to bring it back up, and now she's getting a payday.
So fucking, she's getting paid. Well, she's getting a payday.
But the thing is, and I feel a certain amount of sympathy for her that something like that happened to her. The amount of sympathy that I have is a little bit less when I know that she settled out of court for probably $500,000 or more. Right. They paid the settlement. So if they paid the settlement, that's the resolution that they made. She could have said, hey, as part of this cash settlement, you also have to fire or suspend Ric Flair. And they might have said yes or no to that. But, there were other options that she could have taken. I can't post any of the live chat. For those of you who don't watch this show live, you need to go into our live streams and go into the live chat because it's a riot. Yeah, Steve, how do you feel on this one?
I don't know what to feel. It's like you don't want to say the wrong thing, So it's part of me is kind of like, listen, it happened. It's a horrible thing. She took the offer. That should have been the end of the story. We're hearing about this shit 20 years later, and it's now jeopardizing the very tail end of Flair's legacy and wrestling career. You know what I mean? I mean, there's now a push for AEW not to bring Flair in. Things like that. Like, it's just, I think, it's a shitty thing that happened, but she should have done more then. And 20 years later, I think we need to move on. And this whole backlash on Tommy Dreamer for stating his opinion, I think it's bullshit.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You can, the way people kind of positioned it was that it wasn't just that Tommy Dreamer was expressing his opinion. It was that Tommy Dreamer was expressing opinion that supported sexual assault, which is like, that's not the way I took it. But there's, this very extreme fringe group of wrestling fans that wants to pick apart everyone's career and like retroactively cancel it. So like next week, people are already preparing. They're saying, if you go on Reddit and you look about Dark Side of the Ring, I hope next week that Dark Side of the Ring focuses on all of the bullying that The Undertaker did to Chris Kanyon before they fired him for being gay. And I hope that everybody sees what a shithead The Undertaker is, blah, blah, blah. And like, then they talk about, look at Ric Flair, Ric Flair talking about Chris Kanyon on the Howard Stern show, and it's like all the, and saying all this mean shit to it's like we saw we knew Kanyon and Ric Flair were on the Howard Stern show. This shit happened. Just because you weren't born yet doesn't mean it didn't happen and wasn't addressed. Like it could have already been fucking addressed. I don't get it. I don't get the obsession with beating this dead horse of something that happened so many, needing retribution. Like biblical style retribution for something that happened so long ago.
Okay, I have to actually make this really quick because it's my daughter's birthday. I know this.
Happy birthday, Autumn!
But I was
Happy birthday.
Listening, and I just have to say really quick from a woman's perspective, I still don't think anything should be happening to Ric Flair and Tommy Dreamer and anybody else right now. Because there's a lot of flack going on in the divisions and everything between women and men that women are siding with her and not Ric Flair or Tommy Dreamer or anything. Whatever happened on that plane happened. You took your money. You're still robbing jewelry stores.
She did rob a jewelry store.
And all this other crap. I don't know how much Dark Side of the Ring paid you, but it was 20 years ago. I don't want to be that woman that says, like, let it go. But come on, you have nothing to gain right now from taking this man's career and everything away from him. That's just my 2 cents.
Maybe she does. Maybe she thinks there's, the dark side of the ring is just step one to getting some more money out of this. I mean, I don't know how, maybe she.
You really think Martha took a lot of money or anything from Dark Side of the Ring? I mean, the show's on Vice. It's not making that much money.
Yeah, maybe she thinks and I just thought of this, something maybe AEW will pay me to shut up so they can bring Ric Flair in, or it's trying to find some way to get money out of this situation. I'm not saying that's the case.
No, I know, but I'm just saying I was really angry about this, and I know I put it in the chat last week because the legacy of Ric Flair, I mean, if anyone actually thought that he didn't actually do that stuff 20, 30, 40 years ago with the limousine ride and jet stealing, lip kissing son of a gun, that wasn't just a persona in the ring. That was him. And like you said on the plane and everything like that, he ain't the only celebrity, rock star, baseball player, basketball player that pulled that crap.
Right.
Kobe Bryant got his career back. Leave Ric Flair alone.
He lived the gimmick 24/7. That's just what
Absolutely.
it was.
Yeah.
And
God's honest truth, but I still do not, for the life of me, I think I even posted in the group or whatever, House of Dreams got canceled in St. James. That is huge Long Island wrestling that he tried to keep open during the pandemic.
Right. Oh, wow.
You're taking everything away from this guy now for not even actually participating. Just for giving his statement. That is a new level of triggered, even for a liberal like me.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And listen, as somebody who's flashed their balls and or ass to somebody more than once in my life, there's nothing sexual about it. I've never once.
I didn't flash my balls, but come on.
Well, yeah, I would hope not.
Whip it out Wednesday was a real thing for a reason. I mean,
have you seriously ever? Right. Thank you, Opie and Anthony, for that. God bless you guys. But
have I ever flashed or mooned somebody? Absolutely.
Is there anything I've never flashed somebody as a sexual advance. It's always been a gag, hey, you saw my butthole.
Yeah, see, yeah. You can look, but you can't touch. I mean, come on.
Right. So, I mean, it's so weird. I mean, again, growing up in the 80s and 90s, and it's just different. It's just different now.
And again, another really horrible, horrible thing to say, which if this gets me in trouble with you guys, I apologize. She better been a lot better looking 20 years ago because Ric Flair could have gotten way better than that shit.
Oh, my God. Oh.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
It's true.
Hold on. Oh boy.
Exactly.
For those of you,
right.
You guys need to watch the live stream. Tara just says she has 3 brothers and they flash her all the time.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say.
It's not hell, you go to a rock concert. There are chicks pulling off their shirts, throwing bras, throwing underwear. I mean, Tom Jones has a freaking section of his entire house.
Man. Women still throw underwear to that guy. I don't get it.
I would. I'm not gonna lie, I would. But
she's a lady.
But come on, this is ridiculous. You want to know? If we go back, we have to go look and see what Shawn Michaels did, what Triple H did.
Oh, yeah. Shawn Michaels.
Don't give them any ideas.
But see, here's the thing. Here's the pass. Oh, Shawn Michaels is boarding a Christian. Oh, Triple H turned over a new leaf and started NXT, and he stopped burying people and started putting them over in NXT because he had such a career of burying people.
Yeah, they get a pass. Yeah, he gets a pass because he married Stephanie.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's just, I don't know. Listen, there are people online who are so mad about this Owen Hart that AEW is putting on
that's another stupid one.
They can't accept that there's another wrestling company outside from WWE, and they're just mad that Owen is being remembered that way instead of with the WWE association.
You know what? Just glad that he's being.
How about? Yeah, I was just gonna say, how about as wrestling fans? If you're a true wrestling fan, all you should give a fuck about is that 100%. He's finally getting honored in the way that he should, because WWE can't.
Absolutely.
It's not that WWE won't. They can't, but AEW was granted the permission. I think it's a great thing, and it's something that we can, Owen Hart should be remembered, and
Absolutely.
I'm all for it.
Yep, guys,
Awesome.
I apologize that I have to sign off early, but I'm being beckoned for a birthday dinner, and I do not want to pick a 13-year-old.
Have a good night.
I will see you guys in the chat.
Likewise. Take care. All right. So I'm glad Kat lost. I would be interested in Amanda's opinion on this as well, because, straight white males can't have an opinion anymore. So we have to rely on the opinions of others. But no, I'm very curious what Amanda would think of the situation as well. Because, I don't know. I'm not a woman. I don't know what I don't know what to think. If I was a woman, I'd probably feel different about it, I would assume.
Well, listen, not necessarily. Kat kind of is thinking the way we are. So,
That's true.
it's fucking A. What do we got next? Let's move on.
What do you want to talk? Raw, SmackDown, or do you want to talk about the Owen Hart Cup or Arthur Ashe? I don't.
Well,
I'm for anything.
Let's talk about Raw real quick, because I think you're gonna disagree with me, and I'm kind of curious to see what your thoughts are. So I sit down, I go to watch Raw with very low expectations, as I have for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
I actually enjoyed Raw this week.
Wow.
More so than I have had in a long time.
That's great.
I mean, there were some things that really worked. The opening was great. Big E's reunion with the New Day and the whole nine, that whole speech and tribute to Brody and everything, I thought was great. And then, of course, the Bloodline comes out. They set up, they go into their 6-man match. It was a good way to open. And then I was happy with Lashley coming out and destroying everybody. And then, he just, he went to town, destroys everybody. And then that sets up a triple threat for the main event, which on paper is a big time match. Roman, Lashley. I mean, these are all big guys. So I was pretty pumped for the main event. I want to, even the Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler segment where Shayna attempts to break her arm, that whole deal I thought was very well done.
You're even impressed by a Nia Jax segment. That's high praise.
You know what I'm saying? I'll tell you what I'm also very hyped on.
What's that?
I think one of the best moves WWE has made in a very long time is putting Humberto and Garza together as a tag team. They looked awesome.
Well, I hate to just say throw the two Hispanic guys together, but realistically, those two guys,
they did explain it.
Good, because I agree. I thought that a long time ago, because I thought those two guys, there was something about their chemistry, even when they were wrestling against each other, that made me think that they would be a good tag team. So I'm glad it's happening.
And they looked solid. And they did, as their entrance was coming, they did that little blurb in the corner where they cut a promo explaining they decided family is stronger together, and, because they're cousins, and, we're going to take on the tag team division or whatever. So it was, and they were awesome. The chemistry was there. The match was great. So I enjoyed that. Now, I'm hearing a lot of rumblings that a lot of people during the playground segment started leaving, I guess, to go to the bathroom or concessions. Now,
maybe.
Alexa
Bliss is disputing this on Twitter. She came right out and said that didn't happen.
Well, and not only that, I went back and watched it again. Now, from the angles that I could see from, what they show, it definitely did not look like it was emptying out. Yeah. And I thought it was a great segment. There was none of the magic shit. She was still a little batshit crazy. Charlotte cuts a great promo. Alexa Bliss cut a great promo, though. When she got serious towards the end and she, kind of, laid in,
Yeah.
It was a really solid segment, and then the little scuffle. I think Alexa's actually going to take it at Extreme Rules. I really
I've
do.
been thinking that for a couple weeks now that she's going to take it because, yeah, again, like I was saying last week, that they're trying to get Charlotte to 16. She can't get to 16 if she doesn't lose it, and I mean, why not at this point? Because there's really no other. Charlotte's beaten everybody, so who would if Charlotte beats Alexa, who's her next challenger that we haven't already seen 1,000 fucking times? Alexa hasn't held the title in a while. At least it'll freshen it up a little bit. Some of those rematches will be a couple years old. Oh shit, that scared the shit out of me because I said Alexa. Wow.
That's
Alexa,
hilarious.
stop. Holy shit.
Are they really cousins, by the way, or is it kayfabe? I actually don't know. I think they are cousins, actually. Garza and Umberto.
Yeah, I think they actually are cousins. It's
I think they are.
through what is it? Hector Garza is the top of the family there.
Yeah.
'Cause I remember Hector Garza wrestling WCW or something. But
yeah.
But so what did you think of the main event of the, first of all, it's interesting. They took there were matches, the New Day and the Bloodline thing. You'd think that would be a Survivor Series match. And the triple threat with those three guys and 2 world champions at the time, and a former world champion, you would think that would be the main event of something big. And it was just on Monday, because Aaron Rodgers, the AEW had another big number last week, and Aaron Rodgers was on Monday Night Football. So they were trying to, find ways to improve, I guess.
Yeah.
The number.
Well, I actually was very happy with the match.
Nice.
I think it was booked well. It wasn't a Fugazi finish. You know what I mean? Those 3 went at each other, and it was pretty brutal.
Poor Bobby Lashley ate the pin, right?
Yeah, I think so. Well, yeah.
He had to, because none of the 2 other guys are the champions. They can't win. They can't lose right now.
And then they did. Oh no, maybe. Oh, so you know what? Now I'm trying to remember. Was it big? I don't think it was Biggie. And then they did another Karrion Kross video montage. Again, I wish they would have done that prior to just having him come out and lose a bunch of times. I really don't get it, but another badass montage.
I'm glad. I'm the same way, man. I just don't understand how. But I can't understand how they would just bring somebody up and do that, and then completely reset them a couple weeks later, only because Davey Boy Smith Jr. has been. Harry Smith has been signed to WWE since April, and they haven't given him to a brand, and they haven't come up with any storylines for him. So they're paying this guy to essentially just sit at home until they figure out what they want to do with the goddamn British Bulldog Jr. How hard is it? You give him the Union Jack or whatever it is on his pants, and he's the British Bulldog Jr. and comes out with a bulldog, and he just fucking wrestles. How hard? It's not that hard. Wrestling is easy. So I don't know how they forget these guys and then remember them. But now Karrion Kross, at least maybe they're going to do something with this poor guy. Is he still wearing the Shao Kahn outfit? Or is he wearing
you can't really tell what he's wearing in the promo, but in the clips, he's got it on. Okay. In the snips of him beating people up, because that's what he was wearing. So I don't know, but do you think that's how they're going to bring back his old persona? I fucking hope so.
That's what we've been
saying. Get rid of the ring gear and bring back Scarlett. I've been saying that for weeks now.
The speculation that everyone online has had, from what I can tell, is that they believe that this whole thing is supposed to be him losing, changing his character, changing his gear, not really, having different music, is so he kind of loses himself and then has to have Scarlett come in to help him rekindle whatever kind of magic they had. So they're essentially like soft rebooting their relationship to like they're gonna come and she's gonna be, that's Scarlett. We've never seen her before. She doesn't exist, even though she came out on NXT, which is such a weird way that they do with these people. But you know that's what's gonna happen. She's gonna come out. Who is this mysterious blonde woman who happens to know every word to a song that a woman like her sings?
She sings.
You know what I mean? They're gonna say one of these weird things like that, and kind of pretend that this is like a new thing.
What
Where she can, like, rebuild him.
Well, and then speaking of which, what are we calling Keith Lee now? The fucking Care Bear? What is it?
The Bearcat.
What's the new Bearcat? What the fuck is a Bearcat?
So it's a reference to an old-timey African-American wrestler, Bearcat Wright, W-R-I-G-H-T. He was considered the first black world champion. He refused to work on any wrestling shows that were segregated and would only agree to work with integrated races during the civil rights movement. Him and Sputnik Monroe and a few other wrestlers were known as people who would break the color line to try and desegregate wrestling shows, and was one of the big spearheads behind that, which is all well.
That's
and
pretty
good.
cool.
But you know what? They explained none of this. I had to go look this shit up myself. They explained none of it. If they had
but that's typical.
So Keith Lee, who's a very good talker with very good voice, all they need to do is pull up old wrestling clips of Bearcat Wright and have Keith Lee in his voice go, Bearcat Wright, blah, blah, blah. In 1956, he did this. Blah, 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 blah. And now in 2021, I am, taking on the legacy of Bearcat. I'm going to embody his spirit, and boom, new character, the Bearcat, Keith Wright or Keith Bear, whatever. But they just introduced him with no setup. This shit's easy, folks. It's easy. It's not hard to write a wrestling show. Like, I hate to be that guy, but what are they doing?
It's really, they're really, really destroying Keith Lee, and I'm not happy about it at all.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that there were good things going on Raw last night. It
was a decent show. Right. I got to tell you,
yeah. which is awesome, which is good, because I don't want WWE to be bad. I want it to be good, but I also know that in order for it to get good again, it has to get to a low. And I don't know if this past year or so has been the low, or if there's just going to be like one big bottoming out and then a rebuilding. But I know that, like, traditionally, and this is why the last like 20 years of WWE, we've seen a drop in quality. Vince McMahon works better with competition. He works better when the NWA is around, when WCW is around. When all the competition's gone, that's it. You know what I mean?
You have to create your own competition at that point. Well,
that's what he did. He created.
That's how we got Raw and SmackDown and NXT and ECW. Well, when he brought back ECW and ruined that too, but that's another story.
So NXT 2.0, I don't know if you heard about this, but the directive for Vince McMahon is that NXT 2.0 is going to be more. They're going to involve more current references, stay on top of current trends and popular events and reference them in their promos. They're going to be looser with the language and let it stray more into like teen territory, kind of like what AEW is doing with letting people say shit and all that stuff. But no confirmation if they're going to let people say shit or any other words like that on NXT. But they did say that they were going to be loosening the promo restrictions for their talent.
That's interesting.
So they're trying to, it seems like they want to try and make this the more gritty show, while at the same time, or more real, current, like younger show, but also like that. I don't know. It's just a confusing thing because they want this one kind of creative direction with the wrestlers, but then like the color scheme and the setup and the set and everything is all very bright and poppy. But then like they hire a bunch of big beefy guys that can just like mat wrestle. So it's like, what the fuck? Like they have this diamond, like they have these two brothers that come out and they just mat wrestle people. And then they got Braun Breaker, which is Bronson Rechsteiner. you know, he's going to be a mat wrestler guy. They're hiring all these guys, but then they're like pitching this new colorful NXT, and it's like, you know, these guys are just going to like grind people down and work rest holds and shit. Like, I don't know if you're trying to set people up for like, the setup looks like it's going to be a high energy kind of exciting show, but now they're bringing in all these big athlete guys, you know, to kind of work a different style than we traditionally see in NXT. So this must be a Gail Kim fan. Yes, hello there. Is Candice LeRae on NXT tonight? You know, she is pregnant, so I don't know if she's going to be on the show.
But they did do a video. I don't know if it aired yet, but did you see where they disclose the gender reveal? The balloon pops on her and she's covered in blue, and you know, but it was funny.
High fives the little dog.
Yeah, it was great. But Gail, thank you for the subscription to our page as well. We appreciate you checking us out, and let everyone know. Pass it along. We appreciate it.
They might show that pre-tape there for the gender reveal, because I think they basically wrapped up that whole storyline with the wedding. So I don't know where they're going to go past this with her being pregnant. They're going to do, if that wasn't the write-off or the big wedding thing was like a finale for her, then maybe you know, maybe.
Yeah, I agree. I think Raw was a pretty solid show, and I haven't been able to say that in a while. So I agree with you. We're on the same page.
Usually we're saying Raw is like not good. It's nice to hear that it's back up. I'm hoping that if they are introducing the two gentlemen there, Humberto and Angel, as a tag team, that maybe this is going to be a, you know, maybe they're going to be a tag team renaissance in the WWE, because I haven't really paid attention to them in a while.
You know what this is?
Yeah,
this is actually something I'm glad Gail brought this up, because this is something that I definitely wanted to address. How the fuck are we having an Extreme Rules pay-per-view with no Extreme Rules matches? Like, what is that about?
Man,
I don't understand. Like, that's got to change, right?
It was
There's no fucking way we're having an Extreme Rules pay-per-view and not one stipulation match.
Yeah. The one night of the year where WWE gets extreme. WWE Extreme Rules. Tonight we're going to have a wrestling match. Like, okay, buddy, what happened to the cages, the TLC? Like, you remember? Of course you do. But for those of you who don't remember, Extreme Rules is an extension of ECW One Night Stand. So ECW One Night Stand just became One Night Stand at one point, and it involved wrestlers from all the brands. And then it became, instead of One Night Stand, it became Extreme Rules. And I think it was brand exclusive for somebody at one point, but like, it was always pitched as the one night of the year where WWE gets extreme. And then like, they'll have all no DQ matches. Some of them would be stipulation matches. Like one year it was all tables, ladders, and chairs matches. So there was like a tables match, a ladders match, a stairs match, and a TLC match with something hanging as a prize. So like, there were multiple gimmicks on the show. It was Extreme Rules. That was the whole point. Why would you call a pay-per-view Extreme Rules if there's not going to be any, like, one of these either has to be made into a no DQ, or they're going to put a no DQ match onto the card to kind of justify the name.
I mean, they got to do something, because it's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I mean, well, you know,
can't do those no more.
I mean, Buried Alive, maybe.
We got
but the First Blood. But the First Blood, when they went PG and they got all public and everything else, they try to limit the blood as much as possible.
Yeah, they would do Buried Alive because they buried NXT.
AJ Undertaker, they did the Buried Alive.
But then,
you know, the Buried Alive is a match that shouldn't happen a lot anyway. You know, that should be, you know, every couple years or so, every few years, you know, that comes back. You know, so it keeps the hype of that match. I mean, the blood, they don't want to really. I mean, it happens, but you know, well, I mean, but it can become extreme. I guess.
Yeah, they can call it a. Well, I'm saying no. You know what they do? They call in a street fight a no disqualifications, a street fight, or it could be a no holds barred match. Like, they have all different ways that they can term a no disqualification match and an Extreme Rules match. Maybe they make the I was just thinking this, the Demon versus Roman Reigns match, the Extreme Rules match, because then, and I'm not saying Roman's going to lose, but like that's an easy way out to lose in a fluky Extreme Rules match, or even like it's an easy, like Roman could get beat up the whole match and then come out and have some kind of big Extreme Rules table spot or off the stage or whatever, and then that's how he beats the Demon, is with some big extreme spot at the end to kind of justify the main event of Extreme Rules. But that's just purely speculation. It's what I'd do.
I just, we're in the final couple days, before the pay-per-view, and they haven't announced one. So hopefully maybe they'll announce some shit on SmackDown this week, I guess. I don't know.
Oh man, what if it would be? See, it would be a hell of a thing if like Finn came out to talk to Roman Reigns on SmackDown. He's like, "Oi, I think you're a piece of shit there, Roman, and I don't think you can beat me in any kind of match. Let's get extreme. I want an Extreme Rules match with you, mate. Oi." And then Paul Heyman's like, "Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to get extreme, we'll have an Extreme Rules match." Like, so he hypes up, so then they change and they make an Extreme Rules match, but then Brock Lesnar comes out and beats the shit out of Roman, and then the Demon crawls over and makes a pin. He wins the title, and he can spin off onto whatever the Demon would do with the title, and then you still have Brock and Reigns rematch at Crown Jewel. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what they could. That's like an extreme example, but like I'm just trying to figure out a way that they could spice that up.
When was the last time WWE had a steel cage, last man standing, or a hardcore match?
Good question.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good question. I want to say before COVID. Like, really? I think before the shutdown.
Cage match. They did have Did they have a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view? Yeah. Didn't
we did have we did have Hell in a Cell. That's true. But we haven't had like a regular cage match.
No, I don't think we've had a regular climb the top to escape the cage kind of match in a while. Unless it was like on a SmackDown or something that I missed, but
well, that's not even the fucking rule anymore. You can pinfall or submission now in a cage.
Right, it's pinfall, submission. Or
it used to be where you had to either escape through the door or climb over the top, which is how it should be. There should not be a referee in the middle of a steel cage match. He should be on the outside to see the 2 feet hit the floor. That's it.
Yeah, some people say that they don't like the cage match rules as they stand because if you escape, they don't like the escaping part. They actually, some people don't like the escaping part. They say that's the coward's way out. Whereas the idea is that you're supposed to beat the shit out of somebody so bad that they can't get out of the cage, and then you're the one that walks out because you survived.
Fuck that. Climb up the top and climb over. A traditional cage, man. That's how it used to be. Don't fucking change. They shouldn't have changed it.
All right. So correct me if I'm wrong. During the early WrestleMania, was it WrestleMania 2? That was the cage match, the blue cage with Hogan and George the Animal Steel, or no, George the Animal Steel, King Kong Bundy. Was it Bundy Hogan at WrestleMania 2? I think it was WrestleMania 2. Was there a ref? Did they was it just a climb over the top and that was it? So the refs were outside?
I honestly don't remember.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch now, or go back and like watch clips of that match to see, because it was a cage match if I remember, and it was the old blue one.
Tara says yes.
All right, so maybe it's an over the top. Maybe that was just an over the top escape. So yeah, they have the rules have kind of differed over the years. I remember in what was it, WWF Warzone for the N64, the cage matches were super hard because you couldn't win by pinfall or submission. You had to beat up the character until they couldn't take it anymore. And I remember one time I was facing Bret Hart, and he just, oh my God, Bret Hart beat the shit. I couldn't beat Bret Hart. He was just too difficult in that game. But yeah, man, that's just a new kind of spin they've put on the rules as they go along. You know, the adding the pinfalls and submissions to a cage match, and they've changed the rules too, because they used to be no closed fist. I'm really, yes, I'm sorry guys, I'm an old man. I remember the no closed fist rule, and the referee opened it up, and you're only supposed to do palm strikes, slaps, open hand slaps, and palm strikes, and a punch was considered an illegal move until everybody started throwing punches. But if you notice, The Rock, when he went back and spit on his hand, people would say he threw punches, but he didn't really. He was throwing open-handed strikes like you were supposed to do. A lot of guys, or you could throw like a fist like this with your fingers curled, but you could never throw a closed fist. But then, like, the Big Show started doing it as a knockout punch, and it's just become part of the repertoire. But yeah, closed fist punches were illegal and got you a 5 count back in my day. Now I'm gonna go eat prunes or something that old people eat.
I also top of the hour, heels. I say it every week. This week Mick Foley was on, which was cool.
Yeah. The first 3 episodes are free. Stars has released the first 3 episodes for free.
If you haven't watched it, man, watch it. I'm telling you, it's fantastic. Gail says if WWE was smart, they would have had Bobby Lashley versus Randy Orton versus Big E at Extreme Rules for the championship. You know what? I don't necessarily disagree with that.
They're right. We all know they hot-shotted that match. That was the thing.
Yeah.
They definitely hot-shotted that match a little sooner than they should have done it, but they panicked. The whole thing has been a panic job ever since the AEW cracked like 1.5 million viewers when Punk and Cole came out and Bryan came out. So a lot of this is a reaction to those ratings. So we're going to see some interesting stuff. We're going to see WWE doing what they used to do back when WCW was competition. Counter program. Yeah, why is the WWE Championship not being defended? Like, championship should be defended at the pay-per-view. The other issue is they have too many pay-per-views, but we don't have time to get into that. We only have 8 minutes left. I could talk for an hour about how they have too many pay-per-views. Makes them feel less special. But yeah, it doesn't... It's just weird to see WWE on their back foot like this. They're usually not in this position. So they're hot-shotting a lot of stuff with there's not a lot of forethought as to what's going to happen next.
Well, the good news is Raw was a step in the right direction, in my opinion, this week. We have to see if that will maintain. I mean, that's the problem. But we'll have to see. It's,
Yeah. Just one brief mention for those of you who are big. Hopefully you're big wrestling fans if you're listening to the podcast. Next week we'll be discussing the fallout from Wednesday's AEW Dynamite and Friday's AEW Rampage, because this is their 2-night event called it was at Arthur Ashe Stadium, so it's called Grand Slam. It's a tennis reference. Arthur Ashe,
in Vince's territory,
right in the heart of McMahon territory. And guess what? They released more seats today. The number has officially cracked 20,000 fans.
That's fucking amazing.
And they're selling higher. They have another one at the UBS Arena where AEW is outselling WWE. Now WWE does have higher ticket prices, but that's like, maybe that shows that WWE if AEW at a cheaper ticket is a hotter ticket, and WWE the more expensive ticket isn't as hot, that tells me WWE needs to come down on their ticket prices because they're charging too much.
Yeah. Listen, Gail, you're right. A lot of people are saying WWE sucks now, but just remember this. This is where Vince McMahon and WWE typically shine. Yeah. They have to have somebody knocking on their door. They need the competition. Vince was able to, to beat out WCW. Can he do it again now in a similar situation? Time will tell. But, I think things are going to start to turn around. At the end of the day, it's a great time to be a wrestling fan again. Yeah. Because WWE can only start to hopefully get better. AEW is killing it. So it's exciting, and we just have to enjoy it. We are allowed to enjoy both shows.
Right.
and I'm hoping we can get there, because even I've been down on WWE for a while. And, if you've been a listener of this show, I'm like the last one to like start shitting on them. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. You got to call a
you and
spade a
Eric are
spade.
the holdouts.
That's it. And on that note, my friend, it is the top of the hour.
Oh, yes, sir. So next week we'll be back with more WWE talk, more AEW talk. I cannot wait for Bryan Danielson against Kenny Omega. And I know that's funny coming from me, but I want to give this little nerd, Daniel Bryan, a chance to shine in a different place with a different character. So I will give him his opportunity at Grand Slam to show me what he can do against Kenny Omega. And also just really fucking excited for Adam Cole being in AEW as well. So we'll see him on Grand Slam as well. I'm sure Punk is going to be there. Very excited. Exciting time. So if you are sharing our excitement for being a wrestling fan, definitely join us every week here. We're live 6 p.m. on Eastern time. We go for an hour, 6 to 7. We are on Facebook, YouTube, twitch.tv/War Report, Periscope. Where else we at? Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch. Got them. And if you look for Tag Me a Date on Facebook, at Tag Me a Date on social media, Tag Me a Date with no spaces, you will find our social media pages, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, etc., etc. Once you join the page, you'll be able to access our social media. There's different things we share. I believe we're on TikTok as well. I think Steve has a TikTok for us. So we're all over the place. So take a look at our updates and also our live streams, which, as I said, go on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Periscope. So subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's Tag Me a Date. When you search on YouTube, you can subscribe and hit the bell. As I said, we go live 6 p.m. on Eastern time. If you prefer to listen to the podcast rather than watch the live stream, you can subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast apps such as Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play Podcasts. All you have to do is search for The War Report or Tag Me a Date, and you will be able to subscribe. The audio version of the podcast gets ripped from the live stream and uploaded within an hour of the stream going off air. So sometime Tuesday night between like 8 and 9 p.m. Eastern, you should be getting your audio version, and then you can take it with you in the car or wherever else you take your podcasts. And that's about it. If you are having fun listening to our show, share it. Let your friends know about it. We are always trying to add to the community. We have a lot of fun when there's more people in the live chat. If you notice tonight, there were quite a few people chopping it up in the live chat, and we love posting your comments and addressing in real time if you have any questions about what's going on with AEW, WWE, or anybody else. So we'll see you next week. On behalf of Steve and everybody else who took the week off, we'll be back next week, 6 p.m. Eastern time for another edition of the War Report brought to you by TagMeDate.com. Anything else you want to say to the people, Steve, before we get going?
I think that's about it. Tara, you are welcome. We were thinking about you. We are thinking about you. I know it's tough.
We're very sorry. And
keep your head up.
Yeah, and Kat also knows some people that are close to the Petito family. So obviously thoughts and prayers for the soul of here, Gabby Petito. Tragically, seems like her life was taken way too short by somebody who's currently on the loose in out fled police custody or trying to avoid being arrested. So hopefully the killer is brought to justice for Gabby Petito. And as I said, Kat kind of knows the family there. There's some kind of connection from New York. And also, Tara, just we've been following along with everything that's been going on. We're thinking of you. So if you need anything else, please reach out to us. And everybody else here, join the family, join the community, and we're here for you in the same way. Just give us a listen, and we'll take care of wrestling, and everything else just kind of follows suit. So appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next week.